Thanks for that. Ilan said, it's a rainy day, people won't come. I said, no, it's a rainy day, people will need the Dharma to warm them inside, in the center. They'll be here. And thank you all for coming, and we'll get warmed. לחמם את עצמנו מבפנים, המהות, the center of our being, with the teachings. So, subject is love, and right at the beginning, I want to say that the Buddhist teaching doesn't take love as something grand and cosmic and global, but the Buddhist teaching will see love everywhere, in every experience that we have. And we may not be able to see it, because the emotion inside an ordinary experience, like having a cup of coffee, may be very light, but it's there. There is no experience that doesn't have some sense of pushing and pulling, wanting and not wanting, liking and not liking. So what the scientists called affect, the emotional centers of the mind are there inside every experience that we experience. We are not machines, we are not computers, we are living beings, and in there is always emotion, feeling. And the heart, the more we explore who we are, we see how much the heart talks. There's a famous story of scientists that were measuring the mind, the brain of Tibetan monks. And they put the electrodes on the brain of a monk, and he was laughing, and he was laughing. And they said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "Well, you're putting all the electrodes on the wrong place." I don't think here. It's here you should be putting it. So we are loving beings, but we're also afraid beings. So it's not all loving, it's also anger, it's also fear. And in many ways we are divided between this movement and that movement, between love and fear. And it comes from the animal mind. There's many animals that if they don't go through rituals of mating, they will eat each other instead of loving each other. So if you don't do something, I'm not saying that you will eat your ben-zug or bat-zug, but you... So we need, in a way, the human ritual is often falling in love, ledahev, to make sure that you allow this person into your life, into your bed, into your daily life. You need something to overcome the fear, because the fear is as powerful, in a way, as love. So we are, in a way, dancing between fear and love. And so usually we say, we love someone like my children, but not the neighbor's children. Or I love my car, but the same car that the neighbor has, I don't care, let it be stolen. I don't mind my children doing this, but if their neighbor's children annoy me. So we, in a way, need to get close to this movement of love and develop it so that it doesn't it's not restricted or closed to a very small circle, and otherwise we relate from fear. So we need to contract the fear and expand the love. In a big sense, in the, I would say, biggest view, loving is joining, is merging. It's mazeg, if you say a new word I learned. It must be. It is merging with the other. That's the love. It's not that we weren't already merged, because we're all part of the universe, we're already together, but we don't know it. So the love shows us that we are joined. And the fear, which makes us feel separate, as a separate being, autonomous and separate from the world, that can be reduced. And slowly, slowly, the gap between us and the world can be healed through love. And the fear reduced. Enlightenment, awakening, is defined as intimacy with everything. It's one of the definitions, if you want to describe what is awakening, it's simply that. Intimacy with the whole universe. That there isn't a gap anymore between this being, this thing here, and the world. They are one. And that love can generate that merging, that joining, that intimacy. Meditation and spiritual practice doesn't work without love. And it's interesting that I was recently in I gave a talk in a department in the University of Oxford in England, where they've developed a way of using meditation skill from the Buddhist teaching called mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT. And it's based on mindfulness used in therapy of depression. And it's pretty exact and precise. And the man that developed this, it's now become a major international tool for helping people to get over depression without drugs. And the man who developed it said he's just produced a new piece of research, a bit of scientific research, in which he tried to take compassion out of the procedure, and it stopped to work. It didn't work anymore. All the meditation, mindfulness training was there, it had no effect. Mindfulness training, meditation, needs the love. It needs compassion in it. Now, we may say, yeah, but wait a minute. The 5-minute meditation we did just now, I didn't notice love in there, but there was. It's just that when love is, in a way, a big word. So when we talk about love, we have association in the mind of a very big word called love, with a big L in there, or other. But if we redefine love with other language and begin to think of it as appreciation, aracha, acceptance, Kabbalah, intimacy, intimate, like with the breath that is in our own being, or softness, to be soft with ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, then we may understand how all meditation, to be effective, has to have it in it, and it is in it. And so just be aware that when we talk about love, we're talking about all these other movements which are inside. They are love movements. They're tnuot shel ahava, but we call them appreciation, aracha. We call them intimacy with the breath and the body, for example. We call it curiosity. What's going on with my body-mind? What's going on with the world? Even that's love. Curiosity. Chvatiyut is love. So they're all movements in us of love, but we call them other things. And if we look at it like that, it's always there in our spiritual life. Because it must be. Otherwise we'll have fear, the opposite. So if we're struggling against ourselves in meditation, we know how difficult it is to make progress. As soon as we switch to kindness, something moves. When we practice love or all these qualities of the heart, in specifically in the Buddhist practice or in other forms of practice, it always has the same quality of extending the boundary. So the boundary might be, I fall in love with my partner or my child, extending the boundaries is, well, wait a minute, why do I need to stop there? Just in my family, or just in my people, or just in my house, or just in my friends, or just in my football team. Why do I need to stop there? Why can't I love strangers, others, people I don't know, people that I've never had contact with? Why not the other people over there? So that process is a process where we restore intimacy. We begin to develop intimacy which has no address. Beli k'tovit. The intimacy flows. And that's where we practice specifically with love. And there are many, many practices in the Buddhist tradition specifically with love. And what it is about extending the boundaries. The boundary can be here, my circle, no. On. It's like there is a mishpat from the Talmud that says Aniyim ircha kodmin. The way I see it is ircha ze kol hayikum. לא צריך להיות ircha ze kol hayikum. Have to see it, have to feel it, you have to know it. So everybody, kodmin, is the one you meet is kodmin, whoever he is, she is. When it gets difficult is when we're hurt. And when we're hurt, we carry wounds. And when we carry wounds, love tends to be run away. Because we're so busy with our wound, with our hurt, with our scars, our salakot. And so what we pay, there's a Buddhist mishpat, famous. What we pay attention to, that's what we become. So if we pay attention to our scars, that's what we become. If we pay attention to our love, that's what we become. So it's worth paying attention to falling in love with ourselves, with everybody, with the world. And the Buddha said, there is no better mindfulness in this world than love. It's a path to awakening. And so right now we should take the process of love out of a category of something extra, something which it's good to have loving kindness practice or compassion practice. It is the essence of awakening. It's not just a good thing that we see the world with more heart. It is in the essence of awakening. The Buddha said awakening through love as well as awakening through wisdom. The two go intimately together, completely together. And they always join, they talk to each other, the love and the wisdom, the awareness and the heart. They always talk to each other. For example, if there's no awareness or wisdom, then the love can become sentimentality or just niceness. When I have done exercises when I was in England with people that had a great problem with their niceness. Nechmadut. Especially the English, they love to be nechmad most of the time, but it's a mask, masacha. And so they have a problem with the masacha. So we actually made the masks of niceness. And we saw how it's not real. But niceness is called the near enemy of love in the Dharma. The near enemy. It looks like love, but it's not really. Because it doesn't have the wisdom. And the wisdom will say, real heart, just open to everything and everybody, everyone. We may feel, even now, as we talk, that whenever it's okay for Stephen sitting up here to talk about love, but it makes me feel bad because I don't feel loving. So Stephen sitting up there on the bama, just talking, love. But I feel anger, I feel resistance, I don't love half the time. I have enemies. I don't want people to steal my car. True, fair enough, okay. But love grows by overcoming resistance. If we notice our anger, we are authentic with our anger, our fear, it's the beginning of understanding love. Just like when you walk, you can only walk if you have friction, chikuch, otherwise you can't walk. A wheel needs to turn because it has friction against the road. We develop love by overcoming resistance to love. When we notice fully our anger, that's the beginning of noticing our love. When we are fully taking into account how we are our fears, it's the beginning of knowing love. So once we hold ourselves and accept ourselves and understand our emotional life, it's like we are dancing on the waves of emotional life. And when we do that with the wisdom and with the practice of extending the boundary, all of these emotions turn to love. The anger will turn to love. The fear will turn to love. They will all turn because we are authentically connected with our emotional life. We are dancing on the emotional, real emotions. We're dancing moment by moment with our emotions. So all the waves in the end turn into love if we are connected to them. But we need to overcome that resistance, knowing that the resistance is not a problem. Sometimes we have to take risks. It doesn't come so easy. We need to take some risks for love. Sometimes we have to give up things for love. We give up our desires. Maybe sometimes our material possessions. We sometimes have to give up things because love is more important. Sometimes love is a fire, just in the poem that you read. It can burn us. We may be afraid to love too much because we may be afraid of being hurt. But if we let it burn us, it's okay. We'll survive. We'll survive beautifully. But we have to sometimes be prepared to let love burn us up. Burn up the ego, burn up the protection, burn up the fears, burn up the hesitations we have, the boundaries we have. We have to allow ourselves a little bit to be on fire. So I think that's pretty well what I want to say at this point. I'm happy to answer questions. I just want to finish with a very famous quote from Nisargadatta Maharaj that really, the most beautiful quote I know that really shows how wisdom and love are held together. And he said, wisdom tells me I am nothing. Love tells me I am everything. Between the two, my life flows. So there is a small exercise that I thought of doing. Just take 3 minutes, if that's okay with all of you. So this is an exercise that a little bit touches love, but also the wisdom. And anyone that doesn't want to do it, don't do it. It's entirely voluntary. Okay? But a little risk. Love needs a little risk. So let's take a small risk, those that want to. Turn to the person next to you and look them in the eyes. turn לפנות בין אדם עליכם, להסתכל בעיניים. בלי מילים, אם אפשר עכשיו, בלי מילים. ומישהו שלא רוצה לעשות את זה לא צריך, בלי מילים, פשוט להסתכל בעיניים. זה תרגיל של 3 דקות לא הרבה. תסתכל בעיניים. בבקשה לא מדבר. שקט. ורואים שם בן אדם מלא. רואים שם בן אדם שחווה בחיים הרבה חוויות. Much pain behind those eyes, much pleasure. This person has been a child. This person has grown up. This person has so many wishes. This person has so many desires and needs and so much joy and also so much suffering. This person has a huge life that we are looking in the eyes of a person with a huge life, which we can't even imagine what a life this person has that we're looking in the eyes, and give a sense of the preciousness of this person that we're looking at. And now let our heart open to this person and just let a wish arise in our heart saying, I really want this person to be happy. I really, from the bottom of my heart, this precious person, I want them to be happy. I want them to live a happy life. And there's nothing more that I want at this moment than this person has a happy life. And just feel that. This is my greatest desire right now, that this person has a happy life. And now we can just close our eyes, and just feel what we feel now. What is our inner voice after this exercise? How is our inner voice changed? What has changed? Something in the inner world is different. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.